Ah, there you are. Welcome to the Black Quill. Come in, make yourself comfortable. Perhaps a cup of tea, a strong coffee, or even a glass of wine is in order. Go ahead, I'll wait. Once you're settled, draw your blanket a little tighter and dim the lights. Because tonight, we delve into the shadows where nightmares are born and whispered stories come alive. Are you ready? Good. Let us begin. Tonight's story, The Werewolf of Shato Mountain. You know, I never thought I'd be telling this story. It's been years since that night, but the memory still sends chills down my spine. I was just a guy looking for work, and when I saw the ad for a night shift, emergency tower light maintenance worker, I thought, hey, how hard could it be? Little did I know, I was about to experience the most terrifying night of my life. So, there I was, fresh on the job, ready to tackle my first solo shift from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. The job seemed simple enough. Keep those aircraft warning lights on the mountain towers burning bright. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. It was around midnight when the call came in. One of the tower lights had gone out, and wouldn't you know it, it just had to be the one in the part of the mountains that gave everyone the creeps. You know the type, right? Where local legends and campfire stories come to life. But hey, I needed this job, so off I went. As I drove up the winding mountain road, the wind started to pick up. Dark clouds were rolling in, and I could feel the air getting heavy with the promise of a storm. Great, just great. I cranked up the radio, trying to drown out the eerie silence that seemed to be closing in around me. Then, about 2 miles from the tower, my truck decided it had had enough. The engine sputtered and died, leaving me stranded in the middle of nowhere. I sat there for a moment, listening to the wind howling through the trees. Part of me wanted to turn back, to wait for morning and blame it on car trouble. But I knew I couldn't. This was my job, and those lights needed to stay on. So, I grabbed my backpack, stuffed it with the gear I'd need, and set out on foot. The beam of my flashlight cut through the darkness, but it felt like it was being swallowed up by the shadows. As I hiked deeper into the woods, the trees seemed to close in around me, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. That's when I started to get this feeling. You know that feeling when you're alone, but you're sure someone or something is watching you. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and every rustle of leaves made me jump. The woods had gone eerily quiet. No crickets chirping, no owls hooting, just silence. And then I heard it, a creaking sound, like someone stepping on a branch. I whirled around, my flashlight beam dancing wildly across the trees. Nothing, but I could have sworn I saw something move. I picked up my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. The tower was close now. I could see its dark silhouette against the stormy sky. Lightning flashed, illuminating the forest for a split second, and in that moment, I thought I saw something. Something big, something that shouldn't be there. Reaching the base of the tower, I started to climb. The metal was slick from the light drizzle that had started to fall, and the wind was picking up. But I kept going, one rung at a time, trying not to think about how high up I was or what might be waiting below. Finally, I made it to the top. My hands were shaking as I replaced the bulb, but I got it done. The light flickered to life, casting a red glow across the treetops. For a moment, I felt a sense of accomplishment. Then I looked down. There, off to the left of the tower, was a pair of glowing eyes, yellow eyes that seemed to burn with an otherworldly hunger. I blinked, hoping it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But when I looked again, they were still there, and they were moving closer. If I waited any longer, they would end up at the base of the tower and between me and the truck. I've never climbed down a tower so fast in my life. My feet barely touched the rungs as I scrambled down, my breath coming in ragged gasps. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I ran. I ran like I've never run before, branches whipping at my face, roots trying to trip me up. And then I heard it, a deep, guttural growl that chilled me to my very core. It wasn't a wolf. It was something more, something that shouldn't exist outside of nightmares. I could hear it crashing through the underbrush behind me, getting closer with each passing second. I burst out of the tree line, my truck in sight. Never have I been so happy to see that old rust bucket. I fumbled with the keys, my hands slick with sweat and rain. Just as I got the door open, I caught a glimpse of my pursuer in the rearview mirror. It was massive, easily 7 feet tall, with matted fur and razor-sharp claws. A werewolf, an honest-to-God, monstrous werewolf. Its jaws were open in a snarl, revealing rows of gleaming teeth. I slammed the door shut just as it reached the truck. The whole vehicle shook as it slammed into the side, its claws screeching against the metal. I scrambled to lock the doors, my heart feeling like it was about to burst out of my chest. For hours, it circled the truck, sometimes disappearing into the darkness only to reappear suddenly, throwing itself against the windows. Each time, I was sure the glass would shatter, that it would finally get in. But somehow, the truck held. Every time I tried to crank the engine, the beast would return, more violent than before. As the sky began to lighten, the attacks became less frequent. Finally, as the first rays of dawn broke over the mountains, there was silence. I stayed huddled on the floor of the truck, too terrified to move, until I heard the sound of an approaching vehicle. It was the day shift, come to relieve me. They found me babbling incoherently, my clothes torn and dirty, huddled in the footwell of my destroyed truck. The sides were covered in deep gouges, the windows cracked and spider-webbed. Of course, they didn't believe me. Who would? A werewolf, out here. I must have hit my head, they said. Or maybe I'd been drinking on the job. Whatever the explanation, it couldn't be what I was claiming. I never went back to that job. Hell, I never went back to those mountains. Some nights, when the moon is full and the wind howls just right, I can still hear that creature's roar, still see those glowing yellow eyes. You know, they say that writing is a form of therapy. Maybe that's why I'm telling this story now. Or maybe I'm hoping that someone out there has seen it too. That someone else knows the truth about what's lurking in those dark mountain forests. Because let me tell you folks, there are things out there in the night. Things that most people couldn't even imagine. And sometimes, when the lights go out, they come out to play. So, the next time you're driving through a dark, lonely stretch of road, and you see those aircraft warning lights blinking in the distance, just remember, someone had to climb up there to keep them lit, and you never know what might be waiting for them in the shadows. And so, our journey into the shadows comes to an end. For now, but the stories never truly stop. They linger, waiting for the right moment to find you again. If you enjoyed tonight's tale, do remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with those who dare to tread the darker paths. Until next time, keep your lights low, your blankets tight, and your mind open to the mysteries of the unknown. This has been the Black Quill. Farewell for now.